Headlines about the approaching Assumption of Mary can make a Catholic viewer pause and ask, when the liturgical calendar turns our attention toward a feast, how do we move from noticing the date to praying with the mystery? And when another feast places the words, "Listen to him" before us, what does listening mean? An inner voice, a feeling. Your obedience? You may want to hear Christ, but wonder whether to wait for a voice, follow a feeling, eat or obey what he has revealed. The answer is not to force an unusual experience. The question is whether you can receive Jesus faithfully, respond honestly, and carry one word of the gospel into ordinary life. The feast's Alleluia gives the command in its clearest form. This is my beloved Son, with whom I am well pleased. Listen to him. The compendium of the Catechism states that Jesus is the Son of God in a unique and perfect way, and that at his baptism and his transfiguration, the voice of the Father designated Jesus as his beloved Son. So Catholic listening begins under Christ's authority, not with the search for a message that confirms whatever we already want to think. In the Gospel assigned for the feast, Mark 9, Jesus takes Peter, James, he and John up a high mountain by themselves. The Gospel says that he is transfigured before them and that his clothes become dazzling white. A cloud casts a shadow over them. And a voice says, "This is my beloved Son. Listen to him." The first reading is Daniel 7, verses 9 through 10 and 13 through 14. The responsorial psalm is Psalm 97. The second reading is 2 Peter chapter 1, verses 16 through 19. In that second reading, the author says that they had been eyewitnesses of Christ's majesty and had heard the heavenly declaration, "This is my Son, my beloved, with whom I am well pleased." But what does that mean when prayer feels quiet? What if you read the passage and hear no inner voice at all? Listening can begin with attending faithfully to the gospel rather than producing an unusual experience. You do not have to manufacture a supernatural feeling in order to pray sincerely. A study note proposes that the command to listen is general. Now, while in its immediate context it may especially concern Jesus' preceding predictions of his passion and resurrection and of his coming. Still, it helps us notice that listening to Jesus does not mean receiving only the comforting parts of his mission. Peter says, "Rabbi, it is good that we are here," and proposes making 3 tents because they are terrified. When prayer feels beautiful, we may want to preserve the moment or remain inside it. As the disciples come down the mountain, Jesus charges them not to relate what they have seen to anyone until the Son of Man has risen from the dead. That gives us the first movement, receive. Receive Jesus as the beloved Son. Receive the gospel before adding your own application. Receive the difficult words as well as the consoling ones. Scripture gives your prayer its ground. The second element is meditatio, using the imagination to enter the biblical scene and discover its meaning for one's life. This does not mean inventing dialogue, adding unsupported details, or treating imagination as a new revelation. It means attending reverently to the scene as Scripture gives it. You might picture the mountain, the disciples' fear, the cloud, even the voice while staying close to the text. You are not claiming that Jesus has privately spoken a new sentence to you. You are allowing the biblical scene to become the place where you notice what the gospel asks you to receive. The next element is prayer, oratio, one's personal response to the text. You can answer Jesus honestly, "Lord, I want to listen, but I am distracted." Or, "Help me receive the part of your teaching that I would rather avoid." Or, "Show me how to carry this word into today." These are personal responses, not new doctrines or private revelations. In an address, Benedict XVI cited St. Jerome, quoted by Dei Verbum, that ignorance of the Scriptures is ignorance of Christ. If you want to listen to Jesus, remain close to the words through which the gospel presents him. Here is a prayer practice for the Transfiguration feast. The gospel assigned is Mark 9, verses 2 through 10. Read it slowly once without trying to explain everything. Read it again and notice the Father's command and the disciples' reaction. Do not rush to produce a feeling. Let the text remain the text, then use meditatio. Reverently imagine the scene as Scripture gives it. Do not add details that the passage does not provide. And do not turn an impression into a message from heaven. Let your attention rest on Jesus, the cloud, the voice. Then use oratio. Answer Jesus honestly in prayer. You might thank him, ask forgiveness, ask for courage, or simply tell him that you do not know how to listen. A quiet prayer is still a real response. Finally, write one sentence beginning Because Jesus is the beloved Son, today I will make the ending concrete, an act of patience, a truthful conversation, a return to Sunday worship, a work of mercy, or faithfulness in a difficulty. Test the response against the gospel. It is your response to Scripture, not a new revelation. This gives us the third movement, return. Return from prayer to life and from the mountain to ordinary responsibilities where obedience becomes visible. The measure of listening is not whether you felt impressive spiritual intensity, but whether receiving Christ leads you toward a faithful response. The Transfiguration is unanimously attested by the evangelists, Matthew, Mark, and in Luke. That testimony can strengthen our attention, but it does not replace prayer. The point is to receive Jesus in the gospel and answer him faithfully. If you wonder whether you are projecting your own thoughts onto Jesus, keep the biblical text first. Name your personal application as a response. Do not elevate it to doctrine or claim a private revelation. If you hear nothing unusual, begin again with faithful attention. And if meditation seems like just imagination, remember the distinction. Here, it is a traditional element of meditation used to enter the biblical scene and seek its meaning for life, not to invent new facts. If this practice helps you, subscribe. And comment with the question you still have about listening to Jesus in prayer. The Markan text gives the voice as, "This is my beloved Son. Listen to him." Listening begins with receive. Receive Christ in the gospel. It continues with respond. Answer him personally in prayer. And it becomes real through return. Carry one faithful word into life. You do not need to force an inner voice or wait for a dramatic experience. Receive Christ in the gospel. Respond to him in prayer. And return to ordinary life with one concrete act of faithfulness. That is a sober, scripture-rooted way to prepare for the Transfiguration feast. Next, in How to Pray, we will consider what to do when Scripture becomes difficult or unfamiliar, and how remaining with the text can keep prayer from becoming a quick conclusion.